had a little bit of a break there. I hope you got some rest on our snow day. Snow day. Um, I'm Sarah, if you don't know. I just wanted to a couple quick announcements regarding our practicum that we got off the ground a couple weeks ago. Um, if you are in the Go group practicum, those should be kicking off this week. So the Go primer is the PDF version is on the portal in your portal. So if you want to email your group members a copy of that, if you have not very many group members and you want to print them off a copy, totally fine. Make sure that you have all of your group members in your group because we need group members numbers really, and we want you to be able to take attendance. You'll be getting attendance reminders for that. Even if they don't go to CBC, in your group toolbox, there's a little link you can send them and they can just sign themselves up for your group. And they don't have to go on Group Finder or anything like that. So we just want to make sure that those people are in your group. So that's Go Group. And then if you're in the Shadow practicum, we just want to make sure that you're putting your unavailability in on the schedule toolbox. We've assigned some people, and then you've declined because you weren't available, but we didn't know that because you didn't put it in there. And so if you'll go ahead and put that in there, then it saves us some time, and you don't have to decline us. And then also make sure that you are accepting or declining your assignments, so also we know that you're going to be there or not. And then the Serve practicum, I sent you guys an email. We're not doing like the actual like all-star portion of that until March because the events are all happening in February. So Women's Conference is this weekend, Night to Shine is next weekend, and one weekend is the last weekend of February. And then Widow's Brunch is in May. So if you haven't signed up for an event, the students team wanted us to plug one weekend. They would love your help on that one. And then Night to Shine could also use some help as well. So you can sign up for both of those on the CBC website. And if you have any questions, come see us in the back after class. And that's it. And now, my dear friend, Alex Navarrete, is going to teach tonight.
Thank you, Sarah. And one more time, happy birthday, Sarah. Happy birthday. Thanks for all you do here. So awesome. Hey, guys, how's everyone doing tonight? You guys ready to dive in? Okay, so we got a little under an hour. Quite a bit of content to cover with this invitation challenge we're going to be diving into. So I want to be as brief as possible to give you some time to reflect and discuss today. Grateful to be with you guys. And yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here with you guys. Hopefully you're doing great in your MTI journey. I know you are. And man, you got access to so many people here. So if you ever run into something, you're like, hey, this is bogging me down a little bit, just know we got a lot of voices here for you and a lot of boo-boos on the way that these leaders around you have experienced. So there's a little experience in going through some difficult stuff in this journey towards leadership and ministry. So tonight, I think we're going to hit a really intentional topic. It's my absolute favorite giant tool. And you're not unfamiliar with giant by any means, but the giant tool has an entire I don't know, document thing that they have like 30 something tools developed, all with the intention of helping leaders and helping us identify our own tendencies. This one, I think, takes the cake as the best of all of them. I know that's a little bit of a bias. I probably can't support it, but that's just how I feel, all right? So I'm excited to be teaching this one with you guys tonight and diving into something that I think is truly, truly helpful in a regular everyday setting. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. And in leadership, oftentimes we all want to be the best leaders we can be. And that makes us think sometimes that we're better leaders than we actually are. And we can deceive ourselves by saying, well, I had a boss that used to do it like this, so it's better than what they were doing. Or we can make all these rationales for saying, hey, I'm good because of this. The reality is everyone justifies their leadership for various reasons. And when we have an objective metric, meaning it's not us to say, is this good or is this bad? If we just agree on, hey, this right here is the right model to empower the people underneath us and to truly develop them spiritually and personally, then we can agree, okay, if that's the goal, where are we? So what I want to do is draw for you the Invitation Challenge Matrix. All right, it is super simple. It's why I love it, because it's actually pretty profound as you start looking at your own personal leadership in your own personal life. So, no slides tonight. So, if you could draw this thing with me, that would be ideal, because taking a picture of my handwriting is going to be pretty bad experience. All right, so if you can draw this thing out, this is how it looks. It's 2 lines, and they go left to right, up to down, with an arrow coming off of both ends. Okay, so this line that's going horizontally, we're going to say this is a high challenge, the high challenge line. This is the level of challenge that we give in our leadership. And this vertical line is going to be support. So high support, high challenge makes this low challenge, low support. So in front of you on that paper, there's a quick definition of challenge and support. So when you look at this, you look at the support line and this challenge line, and when we say that, this is the level of support we give as leaders and the level of challenge we give as leaders. The ultimate goal is when you meet both high support and high challenge, this is where empowerment and growth take place. So to define both, high support means care, encouragement, equipping. High challenge is clarity, accountability, and expectation. All right, so does anyone here proud of their handwriting by chance? Because what you're about to see is, this is going to be pretty bad. Anyone want to, would you mind jumping up here with me really quick? Just for the sake of everyone's benefit here, thank you so much. Can we just a little round of applause really quick for Miss Ashley stepping up? Thank you so much. Okay, you got this down then. All right, perfect. So what we're going to do next is name the 4 quadrants that we have just created. All right, so this is one quadrant. This is the next. Then we're going here and here. So we're going to start right here. This quadrant exists with a leader who is low support, low challenge. All right, so this is the bottom of the spectrum. This is low challenge. There's not a lot of challenge, which again means a lot of clarity, not a lot of accountability, and not a lot of expectation in their leadership as they are leading a team or they're giving feedback to individuals. This quadrant, we're going to call this withdrawn. If you wouldn't mind just writing the word withdrawn. Okay, we're going to go immediately up here. This is actually the most common quadrant you are going to find in at least ministry and Christian leadership. Okay, this one is high support, where there is a lot of care, there is a lot of encouragement, and there's a lot of tools, a lot of resources. You get on Right Now Media, you have access to a lot of things, so you have a lot of support, but it's low challenge. You don't have any specifics of like what I need you to do, what your goals are, what you are being asked to do when you know you're doing good and when you're doing bad. This is a protecting quadrant. This is protecting quadrant. It's someone who wants to be low pressure and all good vibes. You just want a good culture around here, and I don't want to push anyone too hard, all right? So that is a protecting quadrant. Now let's go to the exact opposite. Low support, high challenge, okay? So you know exactly what you did wrong here, right? You know what you did right and what you did wrong. You were supposed to know all your goals, all your objectives, but you have no encouragement. You got no care. You got no support, no one checking on you, no one asking you how you're doing or telling you this is how you accomplish what your expectations are. This right here is the dominating quadrant, dominating. So this is a leader who's leading with results in mind, and they don't care how you get there. They don't care about you on the process. They just need the results. And this is what we're going for: high support, high challenge. Clearly, you know what you need to do, and you have everything you need to execute it. You know what you need and where you're going and how to get there. This is the empowering quadrant, empowering. Okay, Miss Ashley, we're going to come back around. Just one little word underneath each of these. When you have a leader who is withdrawn, someone who is not giving feedback, not talking through some of the things that you're experiencing, what this creates on a team level is disengagement. This creates a disengagement in the culture of a team. When you have someone who's protecting, is saying, hey, I got your back no matter what. Hey, I know you miss deadlines, you're showing up late, but I got you. I'm protecting you. This is a culture of complacency. It is creating complacency in your team environment. The next one's really easy, dominating. When you have a leader who's only results focused, never people focused, this is a very stressful culture. Fear and stress is what the dominating quadrant produces. And then the last one, our goal quadrant, empowering. This is a culture of growth. When you have clear expectations, you have what you need to get there, opportunities to fail, knowing what you're striving after, you will experience growth on your team. That's what we're going for. Ashley, thank you so much. That's all the writing. I appreciate y'all. One more time, y'all. Can y'all show her a little love? Thank you so much. Okay, so really quick before we move on to the next piece, what I want you to see is in each of these, we're just going to read the quick, brief description of each of these to summarize this tool right here. Because here's what we're about to step into, okay? Let me just prep your hearts. This is great to know this. It's even good for you to know yourself, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. The trick to this, though, is not just knowing this, it's being able to identify it in yourself and identify it in those that you lead. When you have a team member who is withdrawn, or when you pick up, like, hey, all I hear out of you is just like results and results, what you're doing, like, and they're cutting corners to get there. And they're hurting others, they're lying, they're creating this dominating effect. We have to not just know this, but be able to pick it up and identify it. So that's where we're going next, all right? So I want you to see 4 definitions. When the team lead is withdrawn, leaders or team members, they disengage. When the team lead is withdrawn, they are offering neither direction nor encouragement. The culture becomes one of disengagement and drift. Leaders who over-support and under challenges is protecting. They're leading to comfort without growth. The result is complacency and low accountability. And when a leader dominates, leaders are pushing for results without genuine care or development. This drives fear, resentment, and eventual burnout. And then empowerment. Leaders that bring care and clarity, creating a culture where people grow, take ownership, and thrive. This environment is producing growth and flourishing. So what I want you to do is just make this a little bit more personal for just a second. So I want you to think about a couple bosses that you've had in your life, okay? A couple good ones, maybe some bad ones. I just want you to think for just a second. Go all the way back to high school working at the mall. Think about your bosses, all right, that you've had throughout life. And I want you to think about if you had to, I know this is not good to be judgy. It's going to come off a little judgy, but we're going to do it anyway. How would you label the overall approach of their leadership? Okay, we're not going to share names or anything, all right? So just be honest with yourself. As you look past at all the jobs, all the bosses you may have had, who's fitting into where? Let me give you just a moment to place them in these quadrants. Thank you, Cairo, for the music. Okay, so if you've had some withdrawn bosses before, these are bosses who, and I wrote a few notes down for you, they don't care about the missed deadlines, the poor performance, they don't correct attitude issues. Sometimes it's because they just want to avoid conflict altogether. That is a withdrawn quadrant to be in. When you're like, hey, I don't really care that much, it's going to create issues. That falls right here. The protecting, what you would often see is avoids critical feedback, constructive criticism that needs to be there, and they only highlight the good things, and it's all out of a place of comfort. Or sometimes this is a boss that knows you're capable of more, but refuses to give you more responsibility. They don't want to pressure you, they don't want to push you. They're like, hey, things are going good right here, and you've already outgrown your role. you're capable of doing more things. Well, a leader is responsible for saying, if you've outgrown your role, let's continue to push what you need. What's the next thing for you to develop? What's the next thing for you to try, responsibility to take on? And it may incur failure, but if you stay right here, you will stay in a place of complacency where there's no growth and there is no challenge. A boss in the dominating sector, okay, hopefully you haven't had one of these, but fortunately, I think we all potentially have had one of these. This is a boss who is going to correct publicly, and they use fear and urgency as their motivator. So in a team setting, very much why were deadlines dropped? How did this happen? There's no concern for the person. Why didn't we get what we needed to go? But the empowering boss, this is someone that's going to set a clear target and a deadline, and then he or she gives you the tools and the training to be able to accomplish those targets and those goals. They help grow and stretch you through assignments without abandoning you along the way. And they give direct feedback privately, even when it is difficult. That is a part of empowering and growth, is that it's private and direct. All right, so let me just see by show of hands how many people would say, I've experienced being on a team where the leader was withdrawn. How many would y'all say I've had a withdrawn leader? Okay, quite a bit. What about protecting? Okay. Dominating? Okay, yeah, that was the biggest one. That was the biggest one. Empowering. Yeah, okay, great. That's awesome. That's really good to see. Everyone's had an example of an empowering leader. And honestly, this is not created to throw rocks. I think you double click on all of these things and you're really going to see like, hey, this person probably has something going on with them and they are only focused on results. And so there's a reason, there's a double click behind this. And so as you're leading teams, as you're leading other individuals, when you identify these things, you're getting to the root of what is causing the dominating. What's causing this like, hey, every time we talk, you don't seem good, but you just tell me you're good. What's going on? Like, talk to me here, right? So what I want to do is give you a moment to first reflect on your own personal leadership, okay? It's one of your discussion questions that you have. I think it's number 3. Number 3 is this. I want you to reflect on your own personal one, and then we're going to shift to identifying these behaviors, identifying these quadrants in leaders or team members that we have on our team. All right, so this is a little bit out of order how we're doing it on the paper, but that's okay. Take a second. I want you to think about question number 3 and respond to, let me give you one more. All right, number 1. Everyone here had their hand up, for almost everybody, for empowering. Think about that if you didn't have. Number 1 says this. Think of a time when you felt both cared for and stretched in a healthy way, and what made that season productive. What parts are replicable in your leadership? So as you think about that empowering boss, if you didn't have one, go ahead and do this for the dominating boss. If you had a dominating boss, and say, okay, this is what made it. So try to identify what were the specific things that made that leader on your team empowering or that leader dominating. And as you're doing that, take a moment to reflect. Number 3 is the next question. So we're going to skip number 2, go straight to number 3. Which of the 4 quadrants do you default to under pressure? Okay, think about a moment where you've had, and it was like a tough conversation came up, or you knew the right thing was like, I need to confront this. I need to talk to this person about this issue, whatever it may be, but maybe you chose not to. Like, I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to let it go. Or you felt the pressure and then you came off dominating. Where do you go? Because I'll tell you this, honest truth, we will all have moments where we're firing on all cylinders. We're clear, we're giving support, we're loving, we're showing care, and we're also knowing like, hey, we're doing this thing well. Because this is true not just in a team setting, it's true in parenting, it's true in marriage, it's true in how we give each other feedback when we understand like, hey, was I clear? Were the expectations clear? Were the boundaries clear, what we were doing? Your assignment, was that clear? And then where did I fail here? Like, where did you not get the support, the follow-up, the explanation for how to get to this place? We're going to have moments where we hit empowering, and hopefully we're doing it more than anything else. That there is a reality that when we become stressed or we become, for whatever reason, insecure in what's going on, we have some sort of fear, we're unsure of what is going to take place, we can default to one of these where we go withdrawn, or we go into a dominating type of response, or we go into a protecting type of response. So take a quick second, about 2 minutes, to reflect on those, and then we'll discuss together. All right, all right. So hopefully you got some thoughts jotted down. Let's go ahead and open up a little discussion. Before we do, I just want to make sure before we're talking through this with each other, does anyone have any questions, anything I can clarify with any of these quadrants? Because I flip-flopped a little bit. I realized that I gave you personal leadership, how you are leading a team, how you give feedback to others, how you approach conversations, and then got a little bit of ahead in identifying this in others, which is the next step of this. I wanted you to kind of have both lenses, both filters, but in the personal leadership, as you have led in different settings, this is what we want to focus on in this discussion right now. Okay, so does anyone have any questions at all before we dive into discussion? Feel good? Okay, great, awesome. All right, well, I love that. If you would discuss what you wrote down, little explanation, maybe an example of how you got to your answer for number 3. Discuss number 1 and number 3 with the person next to you. And then if you could also, as soon as y'all cover those, cover number 4. So this will be the bulk of our discussion time. And then the tail end of our time together, we're going to do some application where I will run us through some scenarios, and we're just going to group think this thing together, identify the proper way to give feedback. So this discussion, it's going to expose our hearts a little bit, and then we're going to put this to practice, all right? So take some time, we'll get a few minutes to do a little discussion, share your responses, give some examples for your responses, and also cover number 4, which says, how can we better communicate expectations in ways that inspire growth rather than pressure, all right? So that's the next part of your discussion. Cover those results that you came up with for those 1 and 3, and then dive into number 4. And we'll jump back in 5-ish minutes. Okay, 5 minutes.
Love is the secret that I find. I'll spend forever in the pleasure I found looking in your eyes. Give me Jesus, give me
right, we are going to dive into the next piece of this. So hopefully your discussions were good. A lot of that is a little bit of self-reflection for you to see, okay, what are my tendencies? Where do I go? And how do I really bring this home? How can I, in my setting, support my people and challenge them? It's going to be different in every single setting, and that's okay. But having a goal, having a metric, having a tool is super helpful for a lot of those conversations and a lot of those moments that you're going to have in ministry and just in general leadership as you're giving other people feedback and trying to help people experience growth and none of these other things. So, with that being said, we are now going to shift from we just learned the tool and ourselves and our own tendencies, and now we're going to talk about some real world situations, okay? So, what I'm going to read for you is an example situation, and your goal is to identify the behavior in this situation. If you would flip your page over on the backside, you are going to have two situations. We're not going to read those just yet, but that is what you are going to take, and you're going to have a moment with whoever's at your table to discuss both of those situations. But I want to give you an example first, okay? So here is your example situation. This is the application piece of recognizing when a leader is drifting into one of these quadrants. All right, so let me read this for you. Situation or example number one is this: a team leader has noticed a growing tension between two key volunteers, but they keep putting off the conversation to correct it because it'll probably just blow over. Weeks later, the problem surfaces during a Sunday service. So if you had to look at the quadrant for the team leader that's saying, okay, there's a growing tension. Someone's telling me, this is the example, y'all. I see a lot of people trying to read it. It's not on the page. Sorry if that was confusing. This is just an example. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? Just want you to hear this, okay? A growing tension between two volunteers on a team, two all-stars. And there's some bickering. It's a very real situation, all right? I could tell you a couple, but there's some tension that's growing, but the person that's noticing it, the person that's responsible, the team lead, the coach, the staff person is saying, hey, I think it'll just blow over. It just happens. Those things happen. And then all of a sudden, there's a moment that escalates, and now it's either public or there's some sit-down conversations. It escalated beyond what it needed to be. That team leader would find themselves in the withdrawn category. Now, even though they may be great Monday through Friday, on Sunday, for some reason, they are withdrawing from conflict in situations. They are offering no clarity. They're offering no care. They're not caring for anyone in the situation. They're not clarifying and understanding. They are fully withdrawn. All right, so they are in this quadrant right here. And what we see right here, the debrief on this one, is that leadership avoidance will lead to confusion on the team. You imagine being that person of saying like, hey, I want to let you know there's something going on over here. And the person that you're telling that to is like, oh, it'll just blow over. And you're like, oh, okay, is this fly? Is this the way we do things on this team? Is this how it's like, this is the expectation? I know you said one thing, we're seeing something else. And so it creates confusion on the team. All right, so now it's your turn. Read through situation one with your partner. Read through that for just a moment. And there are 3 questions to respond to. And again, these are very real situations, all right? So there's no names in them, but they have all happened, all right? So read through these situations and read through the questions, how you would respond, and then we're going to jump back on the mic and get some of y'all's thoughts together as a class.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. All meant empty praise and treasures of fate are never
right, we're going to dive back in. Group discussion time right now. We're going to get everyone's thoughts together. Okay, situation number one. It was two people involved in this. The team leader that was leading the team and the team member. Team member often arrives just a few minutes late or unprepared to serve. They're friendly and dependable once they get going, but their tardiness has started to affect the flow and the readiness of the team. The leader overseeing them feels awkward about addressing it. Okay, so two people in this scenario. First question: what quadrant does the team member and the team lead reflect right now? Y'all just shout them out. We'd run a mic, but there's going to be a lot of this, so y'all just shout them out. For let's go team member first. Team member, what's the team member falling in right now? What are they? A little bit protecting. They're like, hey, I'm here to serve, but they're just not really like knowing clear this is where the results are coming from, right? Like, hey, we need to be here on time. They need a little bit more challenge. This team member needs to be challenged a little bit more than what they currently have. Yeah, great, absolutely. And then for the team lead, what is the team lead like? If you're giving the team lead feedback, what are they needing in this situation? Withdrawing or protecting. You can make a case with a little bit more details for either one. If you're in the withdrawn, it's because you're like, hey, I'm just like the example, I'm just not going to do anything at all. If you're in the protecting, it means like, hey, how's things going? You're like, is everything okay at home? Like, how's your mornings? And you're kind of investigating a little bit, but then you never get around to saying, hey, can you be here on time? There's a beautiful huddle that we do before we kick off, and we love for you to be part of it because it sets us up well, and we're all unified in what we're doing. You never get around to the challenge. You just stay in the support. That's protecting. If that team leader was just like a protecting personality, that's what would give them that. Now, if they just came in and they're like not asking any questions, I mean, this person could have family in the hospital. They could have all sorts of things going on at home, and you're like, hey, you've been late like 3 times now. And I just don't know if you know, this is the time to show up, right? That's just straight to the results, straight to the stress and the fear. I don't even see the person, not even checking on them, but a beautiful way. And actually, I don't want to get ahead of us. So let me ask these two questions next, all right? What message might be unintentionally communicated by not addressing the lateness? What are some things that would take place, a message that it's sending to the team by not addressing the lateness? What would y'all say? Just shout them out. There's no standards, okay? Complacency. We probably shouldn't have done the shout out thing. Just hands. Sorry, yes, right here in the back. Time does, yeah, yes. Yep, absolutely over here. What you allow, you promote. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else? Yeah, absolutely. You're giving value to what, or you're devaluing what they're missing in this scenario. Absolutely. All good thoughts. The last question here is the key question for this scenario. How can the team lead? Because again, we do not overstep. Like if there's someone's responsibility to go and address the lateness, we don't step in directly and say, hey, to the team member, unless there's a crazy situation, it's a safety thing. If it's a lateness thing, it's a culture thing, you go through a team lead, the person that's supposed to set the culture, because it's a repetition for them. If you don't, you become the protecting one. You're like, hey, let me take this challenge away from you with having this difficult conversation, and I'm just going to like make things like real comfortable for you. I'll take care of the late conversation. Don't worry about that. Now you're protecting. You're not truly giving that team lead an opportunity to grow. Okay, so here's the question: how can the team lead balance care with challenge, which is the clear expectation, right? How can we balance both in this exact situation? Let's go hands on this one right here in the back. That was perfect. That was perfect. Can we just a round of applause with how good that answer was? Absolutely. Really good. Anybody else feel like to add? Yes, sir. Yeah, that's good. A lot of situations they do require, and I'll tell you one that's really really uncomfortable, but a moment of disrespect can oftentimes lower just so many things on the team, the dynamics. So whenever there is like the lateness, absolutely, you want to do the one-on-one feedback, and then you do the group expectation, calling the group without embarrassing someone, without calling someone out or making them feel put on the spot. You don't want to do that. But there is a need if you feel that shift in the culture. Hey, we need to get this back online. Disrespect is another big one that's like it could happen, and when it does, it's like everyone on the team sees that. It's obvious. If it goes unaddressed, it's going to create issues down the line. So, yeah, absolutely good point. Great job on this first one. We got 5 to 6 minutes on this second one. So, this will be a speed round. All right. So, jump back in with your partner through situation number 2. We're going to do the same thing on these last 3 questions.
You've been just that good, so good to me. Lord, without your love, where would I be? Oh my God, you've sure been good to me. You are making me into something that I would never have seen. You are doing exceedingly more than I could ever have dreamed. Oh yeah. You are making me into something that I would never have seen. You are doing exceedingly more than I could ever have dreamed. You always knew there was a better me, but you love me like I was. Filling up the spaces in between. You've always been enough. Nobody else is good. Nobody else is mine. Nobody else would lay their life down on the line. Nobody else could do it, even if they tried. Nobody else could come and save me every time. But you've been just that good. You're good to me. You've been just that good, so good to me. Didn't know the Lord, but I heard His story. It took me by surprise when I saw it coming. Somehow I knew the voice when I heard it calling. Yeah. Don't have it figured out, but I do know one thing. You can try fighting, denying, but it's always gonna welcome you. Try running, try hiding, it'll always find a way to you. It's a crazy love. No, no, you can't add it up. It's better than I could ever imagine. I can never get enough. Say, it's a crazy love. Doesn't make sense.
All right, guys, we're going to dive back in for our discussion time. Hopefully that was a good enough amount of time for you to get through the situation. Situation was this: one team member regularly does their own thing. They greet in different areas, they wander from their assigned roles, or they improvise their serving method. Their heart is good, but it's causing confusion and inconsistency for others. The team lead doesn't want it to discourage their initiative, but needs to protect alignment on the team. Okay, so first question, we'll go through this one very quick. Team lead Let's go team member. Team member, what quadrant are they falling in when they're like, hey, I'm doing my own thing and I'm serving and I'm flowing and I'm going? What would y'all say? Just shout it out. What quadrant is the team member reflecting right now? Protecting. Yeah, I mean they're working, right? They're moving, so they're not fully like disengaged, but they're not doing what, hey, this is the responsibility where you're entrusted with right now. And what they need, another way to think through this is, what does this person need? Do they need more support? Do they need more challenge, right? In this situation, they need more challenge, right? I think they have plenty of support, so that would probably put them in the protecting quadrant. Probably put them in the protecting quadrant. Now, next question is a kind of a cool one, all right? Because this is a unique situation, and if we just jump straight to correction, remember what the issue at hand. We jump straight to the results. This is what you're doing wrong. Where are we falling? Dominating. Stress, fear of like, oh, I thought I was doing a good thing. I thought I was like helping people over here. I saw a need and I got in trouble. Now there's fear there. There's stress there. Next time I show up of like, I can't get in trouble 2 times in a row. If we just focus on correcting the results. All right, so here's the question. Number 2, how do you redirect the enthusiasm without killing the motivation? I think, Ms. Quintana, you had one.
All right. So knowing that they have a good heart and they're wanting to serve, we don't want to talk down to them where they feel like they don't want to come back. They don't even want to serve in their department. So acknowledging, hey, I see you're over there with, whatever all stars you want to. Is that something you're interested in? Let's connect you with so and so. They're a coach for that group or whatever it is. And then plug them in there so that they can also use that calling that they feel in that area. So we're not discouraging them, but we're also like, hey, come back over here. We'll get you plugged in, but let's today focus on where we're at.
Yeah, wonderful. Love it. Love it. Right here in the back. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Anybody else? Yeah, it's good redirection. Yeah. And I would say this, the thing that's more important than like your specific words, it is your approach. Because if your approach is just challenge, it's going to create stress like we just said. But if your approach is also just supportive, like, hey, how's it going? Looks like you're having fun over here. It's just support. It's going to create this over here. When they experience both, it's going to be empowering. So hopefully, at the very least, this tool is giving you, next time you have a difficult conversation, corrective conversation, or there's a cultural shift, you're able to identify where it is that you are dealing with, what you're dealing with in the team or with the individual, and then being able to say, okay, if this individual is in this protecting quadrant, then I need to think of ways to challenge. Okay, if they are in this stressed out fear quadrant, I need to think of ways to support. And then when you have those conversations, you explore both. You ask, hey, what's going on? Do you have like a awesome interest in, you're over here hanging out with the worship team? You want to audition for worship? I mean, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, yeah, you want to explore and care for the person, but then at the same time, we do need to protect and align the things that need to get done, right? And so the balance isn't lacking on one, but it's being able to approach each situation, each conversation with a good balance of both high challenge and high support. Way to go, y'all. Great job tonight. All those thoughts were very good thoughts, very encouraged by what I heard. There is some homework. I think that's a regular thing here. So I feel like a teacher with bad news saying there's homework, but I guess it's not bad news. It's the book and a reading assignment with some questions in the portal. That's going to be uploaded later. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. But thank you guys so much for hanging in there. Definitely love hanging with you guys. Grateful. Y'all have a blessed rest of your night.